Hello, my name is Angelica van Dam. Welcome to this knowledge clip. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting method and perspective. A method and perspective who looks at the appreciative way of things. What gives life in an organization or in a system? Where is the energy? What already works well? Where are the opportunities? The important aspect is not to look analytically to the problems of an organization, but to look appreciatively to the strengths, the competences and the opportunities. By focusing on the golden moments, the moments of truth and the unique things the organization brings into the world, a deep understanding will grow about the collaborative things that you can do, about the unique generative power. And at the same time, this method, this process of appreciating things, brings the organization into a constructive mode of making things even better together. And with this, a fertile soil for constructed work is created. Well, long introduction, you probably are wondering, what is this method? What is this perspective she's talking about? The method and perspective I'm talking about is something that is invented by David Cooper-Ryder. And it's called Appreciative Inquiry. And it's based on the fact that you cannot solve problems, but what you can do is to look at what is there and to focus on that and to build upon that. Because when the old negative patterns go away in a system or an organization, when the new is stronger, it sounds like an open door, but it really is true, of course. If you focus on something which is good and which is a success, then the old thing will disappear. So it's not about seeing the deficits, like a lot of traditional organizations still do, but it's about seeing the good in things. Okay, so what is on the agenda of this clip today? Of course, what is appreciative inquiry? We kind of did that already. What is appreciative inquiry? It's a method and it's a perspective. So a perspective is a way of looking at things, looking at the world, a way of seeing things. And it's a method. And a method is more like a way of doing things. So I'm going also to introduce you to the method that you could use when you do appreciative inquiry. We are going to compare problem solving versus appreciative inquiry. We are going to look when to use. And like I said, I'm going to introduce the 4D cycle, which is the method that you can use. So our traditional way of thinking is more based on problem solving. So we see a problem as kind of like a machine that we can fix. We can take a part out of it. We can identify the problem. We can brainstorm about solution and then we can fix it. And if we put it back in the machine, we assume that everything is good again. But of course, with complex problems, this is not the case because everything is connected with something else. So it's not as simple as a machine. Within appreciative inquiry, we appreciate what is. We look at connections. We look at the energy. We look at the potential. And then together we create what will be. And like Albert Einstein once said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So we need appreciative inquiry to solve complex problems. So let's have a closer look at appreciative inquiry and the words. So first of all, appreciative. It's imperative to have an eye of appreciation in these complex times. This is also why we sometimes say what you focus on grows. So if you focus on positive things, the positive things will come. If you focus on successes, successes will come. But if you focus on problems, problems will come. So what we need to do is we need to identify strengths to achieve the full potential of an organization. And if we create an alignment of strengths, then our weaknesses will also become less relevant. So with appreciative inquiry, we like to give people an horizon of possibilities because that makes people happier. And change is simply easier in an environment of hope. Change has to do with strengths, not with weaknesses. Participants to this kind of moments, to these kind of appreciative moments, I have to say, they will discover one another again as great fellows to work with. And that is exactly the kind of attitude we need in complex times to make change come true. So let's have a look at inquiry. Why is inquiry that important? Well, first of all, let's zoom in. We have to build excellence, and we do so by seeking out examples and sharing stories of exceptional performance throughout our system. Sorry, that was too soon. So, as we create these images of excellence, our system will move towards that image. That is also something that is used in sports, for example. When you go, athletics, when they need to do a run, they need to visualize the end goal in their head. They need to visualize them winning the run. And that helps. It has really been proven that it helps. So building excellence, building stories, building success stories will help people to move towards that image. Then questions versus answers. So giving questions versus giving questions versus giving answers will invite for a stronger participation. So it's better to ask a question than immediately answer the question of the other. And with the choice of our question, we create a moral impact. We create kind of like a reality. So it's very important. Everything is guided by questions. Very important. A human system will also move in the direction of the questions we ask. So if we formulate a positive question, then the question or the answer will also be more positive. Instead of if we, for example, ask, what is the biggest problem in this country? Then people will start talking about the problems. But if you ask, why are you proud to live in this country? Then the story will become much more positive. So the right question is the key to opening up the imagination and the possibility to change, of course. Systems move into the direction of question. That is something that already has been covered. And with those questions, we will set the stage for what we find. Don't forget, if you start with the first question, the intervention has started. So I gave an example, what is your vision, for example, is a very common question. But you could also say, if your company would be an animal, what would it look like? Could also represent your vision. Some other example questions, you can just press pause and look at them, are written down here. So there are 5 principles within appreciative inquiry. 5 principles. And most of them we already covered during this knowledge clip. The constructionist principle is about the words we use, because we together, as people, we create the reality. There is no objective reality. There are multiple truths possible. And with the words we use, we create the world we want to live in. The simultaneity principle, also covered. Inquiry creates change, and inquiry and interventions cannot be seen as something separate. When you ask the question, the intervention has started. It happens at the same time. It happens simultaneously. The poetic principle is more about we can choose what we study. Our organization is a book, and the end still needs to be written, so everything is open. But we can also have a look at the past, for example, at where the energy was, so we can choose what we focus on grows. The anticipatory principle is the sports example I gave before. So if you have an image of excellence, if you imagine an image of excellence, then you will move toward that image. And finally, the positive principle, yes, that has been covered already a lot of time. Positive questions lead to positive change. Look at things as something positive. See the potential in a problem. Because every problem, every organization already has a solution. We only need to find it. What is a way to find it? That's with the 5D cycle, or it's also called the 4D cycle. This is the method. And you can use it to guide a conversation of a large group meeting, but you can also use it for individuals, as long as all the stakeholder perspectives are represented. So you don't have to invite everyone in, but the representatives of the group needs to be there. And this is the foundation on which change is built, of course. So this is the 4D cycle or the 5D cycle. That is both correct. You always start in the middle with a positive topic of choice. So you need to have a problem, but then reframed in a positive way. A couple of examples. The problem can be a high level of customer complaint or a low staff morale. And the affirmative topic in the first case can be, how do we delight the customer? So that is a completely different framing and will also lead to other results if you talk about complaints than if you would talk about complaints. So that is a different framing and that will lead to different results. So usually you start with the discovery phase. And in the discovery phase you are going to do an extensive collaborative search for the best of what is by focusing on times of organizational excellence. Discovery involves meaningful conversations among many or all the members amongst the system. So you can include best-in-class benchmark organizations or members of the organizations or the local community. It can be anything. Key results of this process is a rich description of the organization's positive core, because that is what we are trying to find. Where is the energy? Where are the connections? Where is the positive core? What is the positive core? That input you will take with you to the next phase, the dream phase. And the dream phase is an energizing exploration of what might be by expanding on the former phase. It's time for people now to collectively explore their hopes and dreams and possibility statements. So here you are going to look in what kind of world do you want to live in, what kind of work do you want to have. So you are trying to formulate macro statements. So it's a little bit big, because it will get a little bit smaller in the design phase. So the design phase is about co-constructing the grounded vision of the future created in the dream phase. So here you are going to focus on what should be, and then the statement is going to be a little bit more on a micro level. People will share their images with each other and you agree on an image. So here you're going to decide, okay, what is it going to be then? Of course, there are also some questions you can ask here and you can press pause again. So just have a look and use the questions if you think they are valuable. Then, of course, we need to go to the destiny phase, the final phase, and there we are going to make the change concrete. So usually it's an array of changes, an array of things that you need to do to make it really concrete and what is necessary to make it long-lasting. And after the destiny phase, usually it's time to start the whole cycle anew. So don't worry if that's the case. That's completely normal. You have to continue, of course, to change. And at a certain point, new energy is needed. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have gained more knowledge about appreciative inquiry as a perspective, but also as a method with the 4 or 5D method. And I wish you good luck in applying it.